I purchased a Strathmore visual journal. I got it in a mixed media because I don't want to 100% commit to watercolor paper at the moment. I want a bit of flexibility because I like to do different things. That's why I got the mixed media. Like, I am, you know, trying to be a watercolor artist, you know, dominantly. Still want flexibility. So I bought this. It's pretty cool. Like, it's the larger A4 size. It's 100% cotton. It has 68 pages of 90 pounds or 190 GSM. Now, my mixed media Reeves is 200 GSM, and you know, I don't mind it. It's good. Like, so I wouldn't go any less than that to do watercolors with. Love this page. This is pretty cool. This is nice. But what I like about this is it even tells you with the mixed media what it's good for, which is pretty cool. Like, it tells you, and it's got a little guide here that says, you know, yeah, excellent, which is the 3 dots, very good, which is 2 dots, and 1, which is good. So really, anything sort of really works on this, but it's just, you know, it's just some are good, some are better than others, really. It's really good for markers, and I haven't worked with markers for a while, but that's what I really wanted because I do like to use markers at times. I like to just draw in pencil. I also just like to do ink work, just plain old dirty ink work, and watercolor, which is here. Watercolors are 2, so it's still very good, but it's not like, you know, it's not a 3, but that's okay. And that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to test this pad with watercolor. I want to see how good it is because this will be one of the main papers that I use when I do watercolors. So yeah, I've already done a design on this page here on the front. I'm not gonna show you. Like, the pages, like, it's like a really cool, like, it's a good thickness. Like, I really am very surprised. Like, when I ordered it, I was expecting it to be a little bit thinner, but I love how it is smooth. I do like a little bit more tooth to my watercolor, but hey, I'll give this a go, you know. And it is mixed media, so I can't expect it to have too much tooth. My Reeves paper's definitely got more tooth for a mixed media than this, but like I said, I've only done a graphite illustration on this page here. You know, I have done an illustration on the 300 GSM Strathmore paper, which I liked as well. Like, I thought that was really nice. So yeah, I can only imagine that this is going to be, you know, just as nice. So I'm sort of really I am looking forward to, yeah, trying to do an illustration in this book, and we'll see how it goes. And that's what I'm going to do today. I'm just going to do, I feel like being silly. I feel like doing another funny illustration. Well, it's not funny, but I've had this illustration in my head for a couple of days now, and it needs to get out of my head onto here. Let's get designing. Like I've said, I've had this illustration in my head for a while, and yeah, it's I like to do these funny little illustrations where just something weird is happening, or like there's a little critter involved, or a demon, or something that, yeah, is just, you know, being evil. And I've had this thought in my head for it's been a couple of days. Yeah, not a huge amount of time, but I sort of just woke up one day and went, I want to draw a picture of my hand. Once again, it's a picture where it's my hand, so I actually hold my hand there on the paper at one stage and draw around it after I you know, draw something that I am not completely happy with first up. So you'll see me draw a hand, and then you'll see me completely rub it out, and then actually draw my hand by putting my hand there, tracing around it, and then having my hands like in a claw-like position, as you can see. You know, just, you know, getting an idea of what my hand looks like and just drawing my hand from there. So the idea of this illustration is, you know, how not to hold your pet demon. And I had a little bit of a chuckle when I first came up with the concept of this, because it's like something that obviously doesn't exist. And, you know, you're like, I'm drawing something to say, this is how you don't hold a demon. So don't hold it like this, or it's gonna bite you. So, as you can see, the illustration is me, and I even put in all my freckles too. You'll see on the wrist part. I put all the little freckles in just to make sure that people, you know, well, that you know it's my hand. And yeah, it's just me holding this demon in a way that's not real good, and he's sinking his teeth into my hand. And as you'll see later, I've drawn little claws, so he's got one set of hands coming in from the palm of my hand, and then he has another one coming around my thumb. And what he's done is he's dug his little claws and he's just ripped my skin. So I've created like these skin, like these scratches to represent like he's just gouged he's just gouged at my hand, and he's biting into me with these little fangs, wanting me to let go, but I'm like holding him going, no, you're a bad little demon. But it's like, it's not a very good way to hold a demon where his head is that close to your hand, and he's sinking his teeth in, and he's got sharp little claws, and he's clawing at me. So yeah, I often have thought about these illustrations where I do like to create my hand in the illustration holding something. Like, yeah, I don't know, it's just, I like it. And when I'm flicking through Pinterest, I always gravitate to these interesting photos of people drawing hands of picking up things or something like that. So I really like that, and that's why I had to do another one. And it's probably not going to be the last time I do something like this, because I do enjoy it. I do enjoy it. So I drew everything from my memory. Like, this is not I didn't get references for this. As you can see, I drew my own hand, and the demon just come out of my head. Like, I just drew it. No references. Like I said, it was an image that I'd had in my head for a while, and I just wanted to get it out on paper. I did change this illustration a fair bit. Like I said, with the hand positioning and the eyes, I really wanted to capture like him biting. So usually when someone bites something, they have like a bit of a squint to their eyes. So I sort of wanted one eye to be more squintier than the other, like more closed. And I really wanted to just have something with huge horns, just massive, massive horns. The fingernails, I did draw big claw-like witch fingernails at first, but then when I was like, wait a sec, I don't ever have fingernails like that, and I want it to be my hand. I sort of cut the nails back a bit, and they are a bit longer than I usually do have them. But I like drawing long fingernails on stuff. The biggest mistake I did with this picture is when I did the tail, I start off with a really skinny tail, and I was like, well, I wasn't really happy with that. And then as I got on, I don't know how it happened, but the tail ended up just this real big chunky tail. And I don't understand how I did that, because the tail, as you can see now, is an okay size. But then as I start applying the paint, I think it's when I start applying the watercolor, something happens and it ends up just being a really chunky tail. And the positioning of the tail, like, I like this picture. I really like this illustration, but I hate the tail. I really, really hate the tail. So what I did before I started the watercolor, I didn't know how this paper was going to react to watercolor. So I got a piece of paper, a black piece of paper, and I folded it in half, and I just stuck it straight up underneath so it didn't leak onto the other bit of paper, because the last thing I want is to, you know, wreck this journal, because this journal was quite expensive, and I don't usually lash out and buy expensive art supplies, like really, really good expensive art supplies. And when I do, like, I don't want it to be wrecked. I don't want any wastage or anything like that. So to prevent that, I didn't want the other page, you know, spoiled. So I put the paper underneath just to make sure. But honestly, this paper is really good. I just loved it. Like, it's not completely designed for water paper, but it works. It's really good. Like, I have been really impressed with the Strathmore stuff, and I don't think I'm going to probably turn back and get any other paper, because I really enjoy using this. It's like, I'm not fully used to it yet, so I've got to learn how to use that watercolor paper with the watercolors, because it is a different texture than what I'm used to with the Reeves. So yeah, it's brilliant. I totally recommend this paper for anybody. It's really good. And it did minimal warping too, which was really good. Like, it warped a bit, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be either. So also, when I got to the first stage of this demon, I had no idea what I was going to do, the color. I just had no idea. So what I did first, I did a grey brown wash, and I sort of, because when I get a little bit stuck, I tend to just throw colors down, and I know I shouldn't, but I do, and that's just how I operate. When I've got a few colors that I have in mind, I will just go, all right, first layer, boom. My last choice out of the choices that I, want to use, I will throw that down first, and then I get a bit of a feel. And then the second color I went in with was a purple, and then I went in with a blue. So I sort of I knew I wanted a dark sort of color, and I knew I wanted sort of like a purpley sort of blue color. I wanted something different, but I just didn't know how I was going to do it all. So I just threw some colors down, and then pretty much went from there. And it all comes together eventually. Like, it's a little bit of a shit fight at the start, and I hated the colors, and I thought it was a huge mistake. But I ended up sorting it out, and I ended up, working with the colors, because I wanted them. I wanted a purpley blue monster, and I sort of was more leaning to a more darker, a more brighter color, like a more pop, like a hot purple, and like a neon-y more blue. But I don't know, I tend to, when I think of those colors, I sort of go, no, I don't like working with too brighter colors. I try, but then I ended up, I always end up darkening everything down. And I matched the skin color of my hand as best I could to my own skin color, because I'm quite olive skinned. And yeah, I just mixed the skin color, tried to match it like I said. And yeah, I ended up doing his little hair on his head. I did his mane, because he's a little mane, which you can see at the end when I define it with the white gel pen. It's black, and his little hair on top of his head's black as well, which I go in with a Sharpie later, because I don't know why. I sort of don't know if that was a good idea or not to use a Sharpie, because yeah, I don't know, it wasn't defined enough for me, so I sort of just freaked out and went, let's just put some Sharpie down, let's just get some black highlights in there. And that's what I did. So yeah, his face is quite different. Like, I really like his face and the way I shaded his little face. He's very, at first, the idea I had in my head was more of a skull, like it was like a skull face on our furry body, but I don't know, as I began drawing, I sort of didn't really want to do that anymore, which I'm happy about. I'm happy I went with like a trolley, sort of monstery face, yeah, and I gave it those skeleton elements, but I'm happy I turned it into a monster face instead of having just like a skull, which I still want to do that one time. I still want to do a furry creature with just a skull face. I have seen quite a few of those pictures on Pinterest and I love them. Oh, they're good. So I want to recreate one of them big time. So yeah, like I'm shading everything now, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with this so far, and yeah, I had a lot of fun with this. Like, I like these little fun illustrations that I just do when I get an idea in my head and I'm just like, I gotta sit down and I've got to draw that. I just have so much fun. So now I'm going in with my very small Micron, and I'm doing all the little fine hairs on the fur, which I wasn't going, I had no plan to actually really do this, but I looked at it and I went, I gotta do something, like something's not right here. So I sort of started adding some fur to it on top, and it looked really good, so I just continued that all through the fur because it just, yeah, it was just so much better, so much better. And getting back to the hands, I know the hand's not the best shading for a hand. Like, I'm still sort of working on you know, doing body parts and stuff like that. I'm not the best yet, but you know, I'm getting there. I'm just another thing I'm working on, just another thing that I'm letting you know that I am working on. And now I am adding my favorite element of an illustration, and that is blood. And I just, I don't know, I just look forward to this moment when I know I'm adding blood to something. I just get so excited. And then I finished the whole illustration off with the white gel pen, and I didn't go overboard, I don't think, this time, which is really good. Like, once that illustration that I did a couple of videos ago, I really learnt from that. Like, I tend to like, I'll get in this phase where I'm like, no, you don't. You're using too much gel pen, and then I'll go through a phase where I'm backing off when I'm being really good, and then I just slip again and just ends up terrible. And I just end up getting a bit too excited and just using too much gel pen. But honestly, I just love the finish that the white gel pen, you know, does. I love it. And I don't know if I'm going to trade my white gel pen for like an opaque Copic white yet, which a lot of people do, or a gouache. I'm not there yet, but hopefully one day. So that's my final illustration. I had a lot of fun. You know, feel free to come up with your own ideas for this. I'd love to see you guys design a demon that you're holding. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.